Hello everybody, MakeZardX here, back at it again to give you another very exciting collection reflection video where I take the time out once a week to go through my video game collection. It could be a physical game, it could be a limited edition, it could be a piece of console, or anything else in between. And I'll just sit down and talk about that set game and any kind of memories associated with it. And for this week's topic, we're going to be talking about none other than Persona 5 Royal, because me and this game, oh shoot, we had some memories and some stories to tell. Honestly, I have, quite a bit of stuff I could say about this series. I'm gonna have to try to keep it as compact as possible though. But nonetheless, man, this game right here, I would dare say it's one of my most favorite third-party games ever. Now that's a crazy wild statement for me to mention right there though, and I played through a ton of amazing third-party games though, but there's not been a single game that's quite hit on that level, at least for me personally speaking though. But that's gonna be the topic for this video right here though. So if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talk about and discuss it. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Persona 5 Royal. Where do I even begin with you? Well, let's go ahead and rewind the clock just a little bit here though, because I would say the first introduction to the Persona series, even in general, I would say will probably go way back to, I guess, its introduction at the Game Awards, whenever they revealed that Joker was going to be one of the first DLC characters added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. At the time, I was like, who in the world? What? I was so confused with his introduction with his Smash Bros. Trailer. I was like, what the heck is this? I'm like, wait, who is this dude? And I was like, and I saw the reactions of all these people online and stuff. I was like, is this really a cool series? And like most things with the Super Smash Bros. Series, though, that's been my bridging opening for a lot of games I happen to go through and play. Like I play. That's my introduction to the F-Zero games, to Earthbound, and to even Star Fox, and a lot of other things though, like especially Fire Emblem. Like I played them all in Smash Brothers first, and then I usually go out and play their series though. So usually I have a pretty good track record of going through with any kind of introduction to a character within Smash, whether it be first party or even third parties, and try to go out there somehow, some way to play their games though. So I knew at some point I needed to try Persona 5 just because it made the roster for Smash though, but also figure out exactly why did people love this game so much. Now, it was weird because I didn't jump straight into Persona 5 Royal, because at the time, Persona 5 was only tied up within the PlayStation ecosystem. It wasn't even on the Xbox ecosystem. It wasn't on the Switch. And ever since that day, we've been clamoring hard every single day for what felt like it to get Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal up on the Nintendo Switch though. And it was years, years upon years upon years, so long to the point where once the PS5 actually managed to come out, I was like, I could buy that new system to play Persona 5 Royal, backwards compatible, display the PS4 disc or whatnot though. And I was like, I hope this thing comes to Switch. It never did at that point. And I remember it was like summer of 2021. I was like, go ahead and get this PS5. Got it, got a few of the the games that kind of came with it, and I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and buy Persona 5 digitally. I didn't feel like waiting on it, getting this game physical, because I just really wanted to see what the hubbub and rave was about. So that was when I finally managed to pick up Persona 5 Royal. But it was weird because I didn't even start with that game first with the introduction to the series. I actually started with the Persona 5 anime first. So I started with that game, and this was like, oh gosh, I don't even know what year this was. It was like pre-COVID, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it was roughly around that point. Yeah, because the game came out in 2018. So yeah, it was definitely pre-COVID though. I went, watched the whole anime, so I got a good idea, the events that happened in Persona 5, but I didn't know every little intricacy that's up in this game, because you don't have a set amount of time to actually go through and put as much stuff on footage within like a 22 episode for the anime, even though it was like 24 episodes for this whole entire series though. So that was my first introduction right there. Then I technically did Persona 5 Strikers, and that came out on the Nintendo Switch, and that bugged the heck out of me because the Nintendo Switch managed to get the sequel to the vanilla version of 5, but we did not have the vanilla version of 5 yet. Still love the heck out of that game, and that's all, a whole nother discussion for another day though. But that was a great action RPG right there though. Just completely a phenomenal right there though. But yeah, it was weird. I started with the anime, then started with the sequel with Strikers, and then finally, via that story I told with the PlayStation 5 and stuff, I finally managed to pick up the Persona 5 Royal. Now, this one right here that I got a copy of right now, I did not, manage to get a physical copy for the PlayStation. I have it digitally though. But I actually went back and double dipped on this game and bought the Switch version when it finally was announced that it was coming to the Switch. And I didn't just buy, just the game with the steel book though. No, 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 no. Me being a big Persona fan now that I am, I went out and bought the one more edition with the whole treasure chest and all this stuff. You could see my editor throwing up some, B-roll footage of, my unboxing for that collector's edition. Came with a lot of cool stuff within that treasure chest trove, some, character arts and stuff like that. And a lot of cool knickknacks like that, a catchy bag and everything else in between though. But really cool, nice little thing. I do kind of miss I didn't manage to get the first limited edition for this game when Persona 5 Royal was first announced though, but I wasn't in the series at the time though. Now, that was all the backstory leading up to there. So I was playing everything, watching everything, but actually playing, Persona 5 Vanilla or Royal. So when I finally managed to pick up this game, I was like, oh shoot. Honestly, did not know what I was getting myself up into at that point. Because had someone told me this was gonna be a 120-hour plus game, might have made me take a back seat and be like, don't know if I would necessarily, be willing to jump head first into this thing. It's like jumping into a swimming pool, knowing that it's all, as deep as the ocean or whatnot though. And it's like, I don't know. That at first that would have been intimidating to me, but luckily that wasn't necessarily the case though. But obviously you're going through this whole entire experience with Joker. Obviously you got Morgana, that cat buddy, which I'm not a big fan of cats or anything like that though, but this dude right here, he grew on me over time though. You had characters such as Ryuji, you had Makoto, you had Futaba, you have Haru, along with the whole rest of the gang right there. Just amazing, phenomenal characters, including the introduction with the Royal version, along with the new character that's introduced in Persona 5 Royal, that being Kasumi right there though. So at first I was looking at all these cast of characters. I was like, you know what, this looks like an interesting bunch. I could probably vibe with these characters and stuff. You never knew exactly what you're necessarily getting up into until you see all these different arcs that was portrayed from one thing to the other. Like you had that one, gym teacher dude, and that was like literally the first arch in the game though, and you were kind of going through there and figuring out the issues he was dealing with and stuff like that. The introduction to these different palaces and stuff that you have to go up in there, captures one heart and stuff, and just kind of seeing the grand scheme of things just kind of play out. Like you can see early on where the direction that the game was potentially heading in terms of like the main overarching main antagonist for this whole entire game and stuff though. And you know what, it was just a phenomenal ride. I wasn't necessarily the biggest Shin Megami Tensei fan out there though. However, when I looked at Persona, it just had like a different vibe, something I could kind of mesh with a little bit better. I could see the approach that Atlas was trying to do within this series though, and it just felt like comfort food, even though the game was like ridiculously long. By the time I hit the very end and also did the extra DLC, or I say DLC, the extra new stuff they added with the Royal stuff, it didn't necessarily feel that long because I just constantly felt myself going back time and time and time again to go through and play through Persona 5 Royal. I wouldn't say I was necessarily addicted to it though, but it was just a really phenomenal series. Like, you always have that honeymoon game or stuff like that where it's like you don't know necessarily it's going to be for you, or you might know it going up into it though. But when you kind of get it, it's like, ooh, I just want a little more taste. I just want a little bit more, just a little bit more. Come on, just give it to me. Just give it to me. I mean, it's the honeymoon phase and stuff. And I was like, yes, this game was definitely checking off a lot of boxes for me though. And I would say definitely by the time I hit the very end of the game, I don't normally notice this a lot with a lot of games I go through and play. However, with Persona 5 Royal, by the time I was that attached to all the different characters, like they slowly added them from like every major arc, you'll wind up getting one character or so kind of added to your roster and stuff. But by the time I hit the end and saw that ending, I was like, a tear actually came out of my eye. I can't say how many games that has personally happened to me. I know Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has done it to me. I know Mario 64, an all-time classic. I know, I got a little bit emotional with that. I mean, it takes a lot out of a game to actually get me feeling some kind of emotional way about it. And that's why I could easily say this would be like one of my top 10 games of all time. Not necessarily, and I know there's a lot of people out there that would be like fake fans of Persona, be like watching the Let's Plays and stuff like that. But if you actually go through and play and put the time up in there, though, I mean, this is really cool. I always hate the discourse with Persona 5 and the attention to get. Yes, I know Atlas went through and milked a whole bunch of stuff out of this. Like, yeah, so many side series things. Like, what? You did Vanilla, you did Royal. You probably could have put the Royal stuff as like DLC for it, though. You did Strikers. I was okay with all of that. But then they also went around and did Tactica, and then they did some things with the mobile game and stuff. And I felt like it was like one or two other things, and then a whole bunch of other collaborations where, people just kind of got burned out on it. I can understand. I can always respect that, mindset right there, though. But all those thoughts aside, and you just look at this one individual project right here, I just think Atlas was just hitting on a whole nother wavelength right here. Because I would say there were fans of Persona at this point, though. However, with this one game, it was definitely their breakout game and brought a whole lot of newcomers, such as myself, to the series, though. Even while I'm going through here and recording this and plan to drop this out on this Tuesday, though, within the next upcoming few days, we're going to be having Persona 3 Reload that's going to be dropping out this upcoming Friday, though. So that's what kind of made me decide, let me go ahead and talk about Persona 5 Royal and my experience with this game in anticipation to the launch of Persona 3 Reload, though, because now with me being a big Persona fan, with everything this game has basically provided to me, I'm just thoroughly intrigued with Atlas and what they could possibly do with this series moving forward, though. Like, they definitely managed to hit some bread and butter between, Sega in general, between like Sonic, Yakuza, and now the Persona series. Like, that's been like their bread and butter stuff that's been kind of holding them up, though. So, honestly, Persona, man, this game definitely hit on a whole nother level, especially with it being an RPG out of all things, which, classic turn-based. Not a lot of people kind of dig that, though, but I just think that story, I always can throw it down with a traditional turn-based game, though, but the way how they portrayed that story and stuff and all the social interaction elements and stuff, it kind of breaks up and divides whether or not you want to go through, just play the game like normal, have those interactions with your friends and stuff like that. Just has a nice little change of pace, the school life and stuff. It's just something really cool, and you don't see in a lot of different games nowadays, though. But nonetheless, Persona 5 Royal, man, I don't know what else I could say about this before writing a whole entire book on this thing, though, because, I mean, call it cheesy, call it what you may, though, but, this game is pretty inspirational to me. One of the only few games I think I managed to double dip on. I may triple dip on this at some point. Like, I could get that PS5 version, which is technically probably the best version with the 60 frames per second and stuff like that. I might keep it sealed and add it to my PlayStation collection whenever it drops low enough in price. If I can get it for dirt cheap, I probably would do that. I just like this game that much, though. But honestly, that's all I have to say, at least for now, for Persona 5 Royal. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below what all do you think about this game in general. Have you managed to go through and play through Royal? Or if you managed to play the vanilla version, what do you kind of think about the series overall as a whole, though, and everything else in between, though? I mean, I had a lot of stuff to say, and it was a long build-up ever since the Smash reveal up until the moment I got to play it, though. But nonetheless, though, I'm just thankful for Atlas for releasing a game like this that has drastically affected the way how I perceive games and what I could possibly expect from just great experiences from gaming in general, though. But that's going to do it for today's video. So if you really like it, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing, though. So remember, y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.